actually originally from Oregon, but I've lived now in New Zealand for a few years, and I'm a proud New Zealand citizen. So I actually have dual citizenship, both in the States and in New Zealand. So I get, so I feel really honored. I know that isn't always possible, for folks to have dual citizenship. So I really know that it's a privilege and an honor. So that's why there's a bit of a strange accent. I get asked that a lot. Why do you speak like that? So
that is wonderful. I think the people of New Zealand are very fortunate to have you as a member of their population, and I congratulate them on their fortune. You are a talented personality. I've listened to your music. As a matter of fact, that's how I came to contact you to see if we could get you on the show, because I was impressed with what you do. Tell us a little bit about Emme Lentino, her background, how she got to where she is today.
Okay. So I've been singing and writing music since I was a wee lass. Background was in musical theater, so I was always really big into performing and imagination. I grew up in a household where, we played outside. We were, which is probably why I love New Zealand so much. Really, nature was a big part of growing up, and just imagination, play, and being in shows. And started writing music when I was 10, because unfortunately my first cousin passed away in tragic circumstances. And so basically that really shaped kind of where I loved singing in church and performing and plays, but I became a songwriter really after that happened, because I couldn't express how I felt in any other way but through melody. And that's the first time I think I really understood at a young age how music can be so healing. And so that's kind of where that journey started, and continued on through high school, got a music scholarship for university, and finished in 3 years because I actually wanted to travel the world, and I've always been an adventurous spirit. And so that's taken me, lots of different places through the ups and downs of life. Music's always been a real comfort to me, and also how I like to comfort others. And like I said, life has been an adventure. So I've lived in, LA, where, times were hard, and lived in my car for a while, and did some busking, and, had adventures of just trying to, basically survive. Wrote a lot of songs from that period of time. I think 3 songs came to me in like 1 week that were later released. And so I'm thankful that I, have experienced some hardships, because I think it just, the tapestry of what I've write about has really come from that. And then moved to New York City and did a lot of musical theater, performed as Lucille Ball, which was a dream role, and obviously very challenging. So I had to really study, her voice and her mannerisms, and wear a red wig, and that was fantastic. And then
must have been an experience.
Yeah, it was really fun. And all throughout, basically since I was a teenager, I've taught kids theater, music, and dance, and have really really loved being a mentor to young people, even as a teenager. So that's been a big part of my life. I still do that now in Princess Party. So I did that in New York, and then fell in love and moved to New Zealand. That's actually how I ended up here, and basically have lived here ever since. I have to say, though, as this may come up later on, some of my listeners know this, but tragically my husband passed away from cancer. So prior to that,
I'm sorry.
Thank you. We did a lot of projects together, including putting on productions for our our small town, and really encouraging youth. And he was also really into race cars, and so I got into race cars. So we did a lot of really neat things together. And then about 5 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, and then I cared for him. And then 3 years ago and a bit, he passed away. So from that moment, you guys, I kind of have come back to that place of when I was 10, and music's healing, and it's how I get through things, and it's also how I want to help other people. So my mission now is kind of this renewed energy of, really wanting to encourage other people and tell them that, yes, okay, you're going to come up against things that are bigger than yourself, and you're going to do lots of crying at times. You're going to laugh, but you can get through this. And that's my message. Pretty much in really all of my songs, there's that message of, this is a season, this is a moment, and you can get through this. And so that's kind of where I'm at this moment. I'm really excited about the new music that's just come out. I really feel like my heart and my soul and the kind of the happier times are really in those melodies and the lyrics, and it's really great to share that with my listeners who I feel have been on a journey with me, kind of like a Dear Diary entry where they've kind of ridden the waves of how I've gone through, the ups and downs. And so it's nice to gift them with kind of, happier, I guess, tunes because sure. I do tend to be a pretty optimistic, happy person despite, things that might go on. So excited about Drive All Night and very thought of you. And I have a couple of other songs on there to encourage young people. One's called Shine.
That's a reputation. And I want to thank you because you talk about your journey. I feel that you have just taken us on that journey with you in the last 3 or 4 minutes with your explanation and your history. I thank you for sharing some very personal thoughts as well as your professional thoughts. And of course, our sympathies for your loss. And anyone who's been through a loss like that knows what a challenge that can be. And I noticed also that you have you've gained a lot of respect in the music community for your work and dedication to your fellow artists and their music. And this is something that is really special. And I really salute the artists who do take the time to work with and for their fellow artists. John Bon Jovi is standing by, and I know he wants to get in here with a question. Come on board, John. What you got?
Okay, well...
gosh, I love your name, by the way. It's so clever. It just makes me just smile.
Yeah, well, David and I have had a few discussions over that name, but so far we haven't gotten the cease and desist letter yet from Mr. Bon Jovi, but we'll see what happens. But what I wanted to talk to you about, you've already touched on it, is music is a healing factor, and I think that it's just wonderful that is the thought that is first and foremost in your mind. There's so many artists that are saying, if I formulate this song this way, this is going to make me a lot of money. And it seems to me that you're not approaching it from that point of view. And I think that the most successful artists are those that will approach it as, music as a healing factor, music to entertain, music to make us feel good, music that, how can I help you with my music? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where you're coming from.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to make a joke that if I was doing it for money, well, I've done a bad job. All jokes aside, no, that's really you're correct. That is it is coming from the heart, which is why I am so vulnerable with my listeners, because I believe that that's sometimes the only way that a true connection really can happen. And obviously, every artist and every work and project that people have are uniquely, distinct to them. But for me, it is about being able to share good and bad times with people, because I feel like when you can admit that you've been in that place, then it gives other people the chance to, to really connect with you and go, okay, well, she's gotten through it, so can I. And I believe that, we're a global family, and I love that music connects us all. And I really love that.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you, which is getting off track a little bit, but in your notes here, and the notes that we
never
have
stopped you before.
Yeah, I know. It says you're from Oregon. What part of Oregon are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Salem, Oregon.
Oh, I love Salem.
Yeah.
Salem,
Oregon.
You know where Lincoln City is?
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Yeah,
we used to go there every weekend.
Yeah,
with my
I lived
parents.
in Lincoln City for a couple of years. Actually, I lived on the outskirts. Yes, I did. Lived on the outskirts of Lincoln City in a little town called Otis, East Otis, and which has an amazing hamburger stand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have a common link there. But I enjoyed
That
living
is
in
so
Oregon.
cool.
I really did. It was a very even down on the coast. It seemed that it was a very progressive area, and I really did enjoy living there.
Yeah, Oregon is really, I mean, even now when I go back, I love the people there, and just real grassroots souls. I think that's also probably why so many people that I've met in Oregon also have traveled to New Zealand. There's kind of this kinship between the two places. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about a state and a country, but there's something really beautiful about nature and people really getting out into the outdoors, and I think there's a real a sense of really looking at things in a new perspective when you spend so much time in nature. So that I think that's
sure.
cool. So it's so neat that you're from Oregon, or that you spent time there.
You spend time there.
As they say that time does fly when you're having fun, and we're having a great time with you. And unfortunately, our time is getting short.
Time is flying. Yes.
So it is
Before
time for
we
us
run
to
out of time.
segue into the next song. So David, I think you have a question or two about that.
Yeah, before we run out of time here, you have a new album out. I want to give you a minute to talk about that. Tell them the name of it, where they can find it.
Okay, sure. So about 3 weeks ago, came out with a new EP called Summer This, Summer That. Little toy on words, toy on words. And it's got 4 songs, and this EP is available on all major platforms. So those of you that listen to Spotify, it's on there. Please add it to your playlist and share. I'm on iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, Google Play, YouTube. So there's no excuses to say you can't find it.
And how do they find you online?
And these songs are upbeat and great for the Northern Hemisphere summer, for driving in your car, having road trips. And I'm super excited.
I thought of that when I first heard Drive All Night, because one of John's favorite hang-ups or expressions is the thought of being out in a convertible, driving with the top down in the middle of the night, the tune's playing, the wind blowing through your hair. And as soon as I heard that title, I immediately related to that. Now, how do people find you online?
So they can go to emmelentino.com for a little bit of more information about me, and as well as all the social media platforms. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and please say hi, because I really love connecting with people, and it means a lot when people take the time to listen to your music and listen to an interview. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, and we encourage listeners always to contact our guests, drop them a line, tell them what they like, don't like, whatever. But
absolutely,
that's part of the profession, part of what you do. You interact with people, and they interact with you, and that just makes it so much better. And we are so much better for having had you come and interact with us today. So happy, and thank you so much for joining us. Want to be sure and remind you, as we do all of our guests, once you're on the show, you're part of our family. We'll always have a place for you. You've got new music, you want to come back on the show, whatever. We also have a page on Facebook along with all of the other social media. I have a David Bowers Awards page on Facebook where you can post your tour dates, your new releases, any information you want to share with the fans. That's what the page is there for. Feel free to post it up, and we'll make sure that the word gets spread around elsewhere. So again,
awesome.
Thank you so much, Emme. It has been a pleasure getting to know you, and we really honestly look forward to having you back again.
Thank you so much, Dave and John. Really appreciate your time, and thank you, listeners, and have a beautiful day.
And you, ladies and gentlemen, Emme Lentino from her album Summer This, Summer That. Here is the next track, Very Thought of You.